What is up, everybody? Welcome to the first ever live on my channel, kind of a man cave hangout. What's up, Daniel? So just kind of, we're going to be doing kind of an open forum on this deal. Going to be answering some of y'all's questions, so feel free to ask me questions and I'll answer whatever you ask me as long as it's within reason. And also, I'm going to be going over some of the ways I've been catching fish here recently and, kind of the upcoming weather, what we have going on now as far as weather right here in kind of Southeast Virginia where I am. And then also, if y'all want to talk some about, the BASS tournament that's going on right now, I've been keeping up with that pretty good. I actually watched pretty much both days of live, and those guys are absolutely killing it out there on Lake Fork, catching some giants. So pretty cool deal on how they're catching them. They're racking up. I think 40 pounds isn't even going to make the cut for the top 50, which is crazy. So what's up, Burke? How you doing, man? But they're absolutely just killing it. So like I said, I just wanted to do a live. I've been wanting to do one now. I've been doing YouTube now for, I want to say, over 4.5 years, and just kind of never did one. I really want to do one in the boat when I'm fishing, so y'all can ask me questions while I'm fishing and I can be fishing live. But every time that I go fishing just around here, a lot of places don't have service, and it really, kind of sucks as far as not being able to, do that. So anyway, basically, like I said, ask me some questions. How y'all doing? Ask me some questions and I'll be sure to answer them. But right now I don't have any. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the way that I've been catching most of my bass this year so far. It's been something that's been super key for me. And I would say this year in 2024, I've probably already caught, I've probably caught already over 200 bass probably. And it's really, I would say probably 70% of them have been on the jig. And this jig in particular, this is a Strike King, a 3/8 ounce finesse jig right here in the blue crawl color. And this actually, let's see. Yeah, Bert, would definitely go beside your house this year for sure. I have not done a rod arsenal video yet, but I am going to do one very soon. John, I am going to do one very soon. Josh, Bracey, Virginia. What's up, man? How you doing? What's up, Jason? Glad y'all are joining me tonight. But this jig has been killer. And if you'll notice this trailer that's on here, this is actually, let me get it right. I'm trying to get used to this camera being backwards, but this is actually a new crawl that is coming. If y'all don't know, I'm part of Team Mock Nation, and we've been working on a bunch of new baits. And this crawl right here has been killer on the back of my jig. It's a little 3-inch crawl, has some nice little flappy legs on it, as I like to say. And it's been really good. And this is actually coming March 14th. This is going to be released. It's going to be a Tackle Warehouse exclusive, but I'm going to have a code for that, and that'll be shared in my videos when it finally releases on March 14th. But that right there it's been the catcher for me this year. So just wanted to go over that. Wisconsin, what's up, man? How you doing? Oh, you're a longtime viewer. You're a longtime viewer for sure. Lake Chesnut. I will probably be coming to Lake Chesnut very soon. It's getting the time of year now. Things are going to be starting to warm up a little bit. And as well as I know, that place has some giants in it, and it's really good. I like to go and catch them on the frog. When they pull up in that shallow grass, I really like to catch them that way. Obviously, that's the way I like to fish. And then also flipping like a rage bug or a crawl style bait up shallow in that grass. Portuguese. Oh man, that is awesome. Got a fan from Portuguese. That is really cool. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Bubba Gaming, what's up, man? How you doing? But but yeah, I mean, the jig has been really essential for me this year. And then also, I mean, I catch them at Chesson in that grass on the jig, and a lot of times like at Gaston on the jig. But just a jig, this 3/8 ounce Strike King finesse jig for me this year, especially in that blue crawl color, has been a killer. Has been a killer for me. And I'm throwing that with 20-pound test P line fluorocarbon. That's 100% fluorocarbon. And then y'all have probably seen me throwing it on the mock. This is the mock jack. So this is the newer mock rod and reel combo of the lineup. It's black and red, super sensitive. This is the 7-foot medium heavy. I'm not a really I'm not a real long rod guy, so I'm kind of tall and I got kind of longer arms. So I notice when I go to a longer rod, I set the hook really hard. If you watch my videos, y'all know that. I really swing on them hard, and I happen to kind of break some fish off sometimes when I use a longer rod. So 7 foot is what I try to stay with, and I don't have a problem with, hooking up on the fish and all. So that's just my preference. But they do make this rod and reel combo in a 7.3. Also, it's a 7.3 heavy, I believe. So if you like a heavier rod or something like that to throw your jig on, that would be a good option. So yeah, love a jig fish on Gaston for sure. Let's see, been watching for a while. Always wondered why you like a softer rod for frog fishing. I use a 7.3 extra heavy X Bride and didn't like anything less powered. So basically, it all comes down to preference. And that's what I tell anybody when it comes to a rod is, and it comes kind of to what you're fishing as well. So frog fishing, and I actually have my frog set up right here with me. And this is a very new frog that has not yet been released. That is also going to be coming very soon. Going to give y'all a little sneak peek of that right there. But this is the 7-foot lose. This is the Mach 2, and this is the medium heavy 7-foot 2-inch. So not a very stiff rod, not super, super heavy duty. Fishing like in the sparse pads that we have, and then also hydrilla, I feel like this rod is plenty. Personally, I feel like it's plenty. But some guys like a heavier action rod. Some people really like to feel that rod really, rip those fish. If you're fishing in like Tules or something really, really heavy, like down in Florida, like really, really thick matted vegetation, then obviously a heavier rod I feel like is necessary. Here in the river where I'm throwing in more open water, around wood, I'm throwing in like pads, not like thick stem pads, kind of like just regular pads. I feel like this rod is plenty. And also for me, I can cast and walk the frog better with a softer rod personally. So that's why I stick with a softer rod. I feel like the braid does all the work, really. So if you have a softer rod when you set the hook, I feel like that braid is what really drives the hook home and what rips them out of the cover. And, the rod is kind of more for that backbone if you need to pull them out of like the really, really super, super thick stuff. But once again, it comes down to preference, what you like, what you prefer. If you can walk the frog with an extra heavy, if you feel perfectly comfortable with it, then by all means, definitely use a super heavy rod, a heavy or extra heavy, whatever you feel is comfortable. That's like a crankbait. Some people might like throwing a softer rod with a crankbait, and then they might throw, some people might a little bit more of a stiffer rod, like a chatterbait. Like me and some of my buddies, we differ in what we like for chatterbait rods. I like a softer chatterbait rod, and I got some buddies that like medium heavy chatterbait rods. So it all comes down to preference. So, hopefully that kind of explained it, but that's why I go with a softer action rod personally. That's why I go to softer action rod. So, Mach is a division of Lose. They are, Mach's been around for quite a while. Under Lose, I have some Mach rods from years and years ago that I've had for a really long time. And then Mach kind of now is their own division of Lose. So Mach has their own rod and reel combos. They have their own rods. They have their, now we're coming out with their own baits. We have hard baits, soft baits, and the soft baits are going to hit March 14th. Tackle Warehouse exclusive. So be sure to keep your eye out for them, because I'm telling you, there's some really, really good soft plastics. We've been working on them for quite a while, and I've kind of teased them here and there in a few of my videos, but we're getting now to where they're going to be, they're going to be released. And like I said, I'm going to have a code and all that for everybody, and, really, really good stuff. I'm very excited about it, and we have some really good stuff coming. And then the frogs, they're going to be released a little bit later, a few months from now, probably. But like I said, they're coming down the pipe. So very, very excited about that. So let's see. John writes, I'm late. Let's see. I've learned so much from your videos because you explain everything so well. From Maryland, but moved to Texas. Oh, well, you are where the big boys live. If you're in Texas, John, like I said, I've been keeping up with the BASS tournament that's going on right now in Lake Fork, and they are just catching absolute giants out there. Pretty unbelievable. That body of water puts them out. It's not a huge body of water. It just puts out giants year after year. It does get a lot of pressure as well, but man, they are absolutely catching them. Caught a 16-pound striper at Chick. God, that's crazy. That's crazy. Hey, Kai, how you doing? From Virginia, do you mind sharing? Oh, man. So right now, I'm not going to. It's a very small lake that we caught those 4 for 31 pounds on. It is a small public lake, and it would honestly get so much pressure. If people knew where it was, it would get so much pressure that it would be unbelievable. Because when when people find out, and it's not that I'm trying to keep anything from anybody on this, but because generally I don't even say where I'm at, just because some of these smaller bodies of water, if they get a lot of pressure, they really get messed up. And like I said, I'm not trying to keep anybody from catching any fish. And this particular lake, I would not even know about if a good friend didn't give me a clue about it and tell me about it. So I don't want to feel like I'm keeping anything away from anybody, but it would get so much pressure because it is so small. It's public, but it's not a big body of water at all. And I would really hate to see it get blown out with so much pressure. I haven't even been back there since that day happened. I'm going to be honest with you. I want to get back there. It's a ways away from me. It's a little bit of a drive. It's not right here at me. So, but it just, what I would suggest if you're looking for good bodies of water here in Virginia, just jump on the I think it's VDGIF website and look at the top lakes. Like, they literally have a list of the top lakes in the state of Virginia, ranked from number 1 down to number 10, I think. And that will give you a good clue of where to go, because every one of those bodies of water that they have listed are really good. And where I was at might be in that top 10. So that's just, go do that. Look at that, and that'll really give you a good idea of some really good lakes around. And I would go from there, because they're all good. They're all good, to be honest with you. Everything in that top 10. But let's see. Trey McKinney today on 4. I saw that. That was crazy. I was actually working on editing a video, and I had it on live on the TV. And actually, my wife, she works from home too, so we were watching it and saw that go down, and that was absolutely crazy. I've only done that one time ever before in my life, and I've been trying so hard. It was in a video of mine, probably, it was well over 3 years ago. Me and Lee were fishing a championship tournament, and I broke a fish off on a worm, and an hour later came back to the same tree with the exact same worm. And I caught that fish, and both my hooks and worms were literally sticking out the front of his face, a 2 3/4 pounder. I couldn't believe it. I save all of my videos. I've been trying to find it so I can make like a short or something like that with it. And I just have not found it, but it was pretty crazy. It was, and he got his jerkbait back. That was so wild. That was so wild. Have I ever fished Chickahominy Lake? I have. And I have some videos from there. Probably, did I do one last year? I think I did one last spring. I want to say there, frog fishing. It was a really tough day, but we did end up catching some nice fish. They would call 8 or 10 on the frog, throwing it in the hydrilla. It was in the summer. And then I have a few from maybe 3 years ago, throwing the buzzbait there. But I have fished it. I don't fish it a ton. It's a pretty decent little drive away from me, so I don't go there a whole bunch, but I do know that they've been catching some big bass out there. Well, there's been some guys catching some big bass out there on glide baits. They've been catching some really, really big ones. So I apologize if I sound a little stopped up. I was on the couch sick 2 days ago. Felt like absolute crap. But I'm back up today, feeling all right. So good. Just got some sinus stuff going on. But yeah, so let's see. Do a video on Sandy River. I want to get, okay, so Chickahominy Lake, like I said, I got a few out there. I want to fish Sandy River this year. And Orange Lake, I fished Orange Lake once in my life. That was probably 6 or 7 years ago. And I want to get back out there. I want to get back out there. And this year now that I'm able to do a lot more fishing with me working from home and doing what I'm doing, I want to be able to fish more lakes. And this spring, when it starts to warm up, I'm really, really going to be hitting the water right much because, of course, that's the absolute best times to fish and to catch big fish, right before they get on the bed. When they get on the bed, that's obviously the best time to catch big fish. So going to be putting a lot of time in on some bodies of water where I know there are some bigger fish, and going to be trying to get some really good content with some big fish catches. So, yeah, I'm going to try to go. I'm going to try to go to those bodies of water. So I actually have a little running list in my head of where I want to go. 2 bodies of water in Virginia that I have never fished, and also Carolina. So I'm going to try to get on those in the spring for sure. So, let's see. All right, Bassett. I appreciate you jumping on, man. Have I ever been to Falls or Jordan Lake in the Raleigh area? I have not. Actually, 2 years ago, me and Lee, we had a Airbnb rented, and we were going to fish Harris, Jordan, and Falls, and we were going to get some videos from there. It was in the spring. It was going to be absolutely perfect. And a big nor'easter came through the weekend that we were supposed to go, and we actually had to cancel because it was 70+ mile per hour winds, and we had to cancel, and we weren't able to go. And I just have not gotten the chance to go back. Not that it's that far away from me, because they're really not that far. They're actually within 2 hours from me. So this spring, I'm absolutely going to try to get out there and do some fishing. So I want to get out there, do some videos. I know it's absolute giants out there. So I'm definitely going to try to get out there and do some fishing, get some videos from there. Maybe try to hit, maybe the days like multiple days, maybe on a body of water. Really what I'm trying to do is I want to pick, like, I don't know, maybe 5 or 7 bodies of water that are relatively close to me, but that I've never fished. And I want to go fish them all and try to break them down, dissect them in one day, And the goal would be to at least catch, like one bass on these bodies of water that I've never fished before. Obviously, I would want to catch more than one, but the goal would be to catch, a bass on these bodies of water. So something to kind of challenge myself on newer bodies of water, but also I want them to be like good bodies of water where I know there's a chance of catching maybe like a big fish, and then obviously somewhere that has a little history for being known for big fish. So that's something I want to do, myself. And I want to get there and fish them because I keep up with fishing a lot, and I know those lakes like absolutely put out, and there's giant fish, in them. Let's see, G-Rod, hello from California. What's up, man? California, that's really cool. That people watch, seeing how far away and how many different states of people that watch my channel is like really cool, because I know, being here local in Virginia, I feel like most of my viewer base, or like in my head, most of my viewer base is like right here around me. But like when I see this, I realize how many people watch, from so far away. And it's really cool to see how far of a reach, my channel has. So that's really, really, really cool. So, yeah, I do have some cold and allergies going on, John. I'm gonna tell you, like I said, I was this past weekend I fished a tournament and I got hung up in the rain and I got absolutely soaked in the tournament, and I got really cold, and I ended up getting sick, and it got me down for a couple of days. So I feel good now. I'm just, like I said, I'm just fighting these sinuses right now. So let's see. I never see you throwing jerk bait. So I do throw jerk baits quite a bit, G-Rod. I'm not sure if you saw the video a couple of videos ago where we had 4 fish for 31 pounds. All those fish did come on a jerk bait. And I actually have a video that's uploading tomorrow morning where I catch some nice fish on a jerk bait as well. So, it's kind of one of those things. I pick it up, throw it. If fish are reacting to it well, I'll keep it in my hand. If they're kind of not on it really good, then I'll put it down. In past years, I've had some absolutely awesome years on a jerkbait. I've caught some of my biggest winter fish, like you said, some of the biggest fish on a jerkbait. And that's what I've caught a lot of big fish in the winter on. This year and this winter and this spring, for some reason, it has been the jig. The jig has just been so good for me. And it's been really, really good. I caught a 7.32, I think, on the jig maybe about 3 weeks ago. I've caught a whole bunch of 4 or 5 pounders on it this year. So it's one of those things where you get a lot of confidence in something. You pick it up, you throw it, and kind of that deal. But like I said, the video I am uploading tomorrow is a couple really good jerkbait catches. And I mean, they absolutely choked it. Absolutely choked it. I actually have my jerkbait rod and reel combo in here with me. And I have my absolute favorite jerkbait on there. That is the Strike King. That's the KVD Deep. That's a Deep 300 in the strobe shad. That is my favorite, my absolute favorite. That is the jerkbait I was throwing that I caught those big fish on. Where we had that 31 pounds, and I caught a 8.9 on this jerkbait right here. So that's the biggest fish that I've caught since I caught that 12.3 2 years ago. That 8.9 was the biggest one, but that's the 610. This is the Mock Jack 610 medium, and that's a really, really good jerkbait combo. 12-pound test P-line copolymer C21 is what I throw on my jerkbait rod. A lot of people opt for 8 or 10-pound test. I like 12 because I'm throwing around a lot of wood, and that that's kind of why I go with the little bit heavier line. So let's see, what do we got here? Hello from Missouri. What's up, Jerry? Jason, love the content. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I try to put a lot of time and effort into my videos. You know, like I said, I've been doing YouTube now for 4.5 years, legitimately 4.5 years. And, you know, I really honestly was hoping that by now I would have grown a little bit more. I mean, which I'm not complaining. I'm about to hit 13,000 subscribers. I think I got 490 videos uploaded to my channel over the course of that 4.5 years. So I have really pumped out a lot of content over the years. Some really, really good videos. So if you're new to the channel, be sure to like go back and watch some of the really, really good videos I have. And you can go back and watch some of the first ones that I did that were, they weren't bad videos, but just the quality of my GoPro wasn't that good and all. And it's kind of evolved to what it is now. But I really, really appreciate everybody that watches them. Wanting to see me try my hand at big swim baits. Well, I actually filmed a video fishing trip last week where I did a big bait only challenge. So I had a big paddle tail swim bait and then a big glide bait. And that's all I threw. That's all I threw. I did catch some fish. So that video will probably be coming out in, I don't know, within a couple weeks probably, but I only threw big baits because I'm really trying to challenge myself on throwing big baits. And, oh, Mississippi, my bad, not Missouri. My wife, she says, yeah, Mississippi. I'm getting all stopped up here. But yeah, so anyway, so I do have a video you recorded, you know, that I have to edit, and I'm only using big baits. And I do catch a couple nice fish in that video, but I do want to spend more time throwing the big baits personally, because just seeing like what today, like Matty Wong, you know, throwing the big glide bait, catching big fish on it, you know, it really does get me pumped to know how many big fish you can catch throwing big baits. And I have some bodies of water that they would work really well on. But it's really like a confidence thing. You know, you really have to get your confidence in a bait like that to throw it. So I want to throw it some more. The day when I did that challenge, it was really windy and it really messed me up as far as being able to throw the glide. I just it's a slow sinking glide, and it didn't work out very well for that. But the paddle tail, it worked out decent for, and I was able to catch some really good fish on it. So Clear Lake, oh man, I've heard about Clear Lake a lot, and I know right now Clear Lake is putting out some absolute giant fish, some giant bags. So that would probably be a dream trip of mine, and maybe one that I might try to make in, you know, a reasonable amount of time. California definitely is a bucket list state of somewhere that I would like to fish. It's very diverse. I know y'all have a lot of like smaller bodies of water that are really good, and then y'all have I know, like I watch Greg Blanchard a lot, and he fishes, I think, Lake Orville Lake. I think he fishes there a decent amount. Just, I don't know. There's lakes look like really cool, just with the rocky banks and like the way. Right now, I know the lakes there are like pretty low, so it's really cool to see like the different scenery, and like I know the fish out there can be kind of tough in some of those lakes, but I know Clear Lake like puts out absolute giants right now. So let's see. Get on the boat with Matt SB Fishing. Yeah, we've fished together a couple of times before. And so we've fished on we actually did a 1v1 tournament against each other. I don't know, maybe a month ago, maybe that video hit, maybe a month ago or so. And but yeah, me and Matt, we talk all the time. We're not very far away from each other. So here soon we might try to, you know, get in the boat with each other and do something. But yeah, I mean, we definitely need to get up and fish a little bit more. come fish with me for a day. I mean, as I grow, I definitely want to be able to do something like that for sure. Because I mean, it would be cool to fish with some of y'all. I know people hit me up right often and they want to fish or whatever. And it's just for me, it was always like a time thing where I didn't. It's hard to like schedule a time to be able to like go fishing with somebody. I'm very random and very sporadic when it comes to fishing. And I know a lot of y'all probably don't know this. My wife, she absolutely knows this because I'm so indecisive when I'm trying to decide where I want to go fishing because I want to go fishing where I feel like it's the best area, best place for that time of the year, whatever time of year. Because obviously, when I go, I want to try to get a good video out of it. I want to get a good video. I want to be able to catch a bunch of fish. Try to have the chance of a big one. So a lot of times, I've actually left home and said, I'm going. I'm going to this lake, and I've literally went down the road, turn around and text my wife and say, no, I'm not going there. I'm going somewhere else. So, I'm very indecisive when it comes to fishing, but I would definitely at some point want to fish with some subscribers. I think it would be very cool to do it like a raffle type deal. Like I said, in the future, I may definitely look at something like that. So, let's see, John Wright's looking for a good buzzbait. Hang on one second. I'm going to grab my buzzbait rod and I'm going to show it to y'all real quick. And I'm going to show you this buzzbait. It's the buzzbait that I throw all the time. I throw this buzzbait literally all the time. If you watch my channel, you see me throw it a lot. So I'm going to grab it real quick. I'm going to show it to y'all because I want to show it as I talk about it. But I will be right back. Hang on one second. All right, y'all. I'm back. So, buzzbait. This right here is a Boss Amphibian buzzbait. Okay. So, I'm not sponsored by these people at all, but I've been throwing this buzzbait for years, literally. So, this is a Boss Amphibian. This is a 1/4 ounce. Okay, so 1/4 ounce. And this one is the gold blade version right here. And this has a white horny toad on there. This is the blackhead. You can get white, you can get black, you can get black blade, you can get silver blade, all of that. But a Boss Amphibian, these you get from Tackle Warehouse. They're actually a Tackle Warehouse exclusive. So I believe Tackle Warehouse, I'm pretty sure they're the only place you can get them from. But let me explain to y'all why I like this buzzbait so much. Okay. So a lot of toad buzzbaits have the weight where they come through the body. They don't really have a head. The weight is like central of the body. So the hook comes out, way back here in the back. And the head, that leaves the head of the buzzbait with nothing there. So just the head. So if you hit a log, if you throw in pads and bring it through, it tears the head up. Having this head right here is very important for when you come through pads or any type of vegetation or anything. It keeps the head protected. It doesn't tear your toad up. And this also has a screw lock. So this has a screw lock on it where you screw your toad on and it doesn't slide down. So this buzzbait has like the best sound to it. It's a really good buzzbait. I've been throwing this one for probably, I don't know, 4 to 5 years, probably at least. And it's really good. To me, it's absolutely the best personally. And I throw that on 50-pound braid, 50-pound P-line braid. And then the rod that I threw it on last year, I'm not sure if it's the one I'm going to throw it on this year. Very well, may be. But that is the 6-foot 10-inch Mock Smash right there. So that's that orange looking rod, 6-foot 10-inch. And this is a medium heavy. Yeah, this is a medium heavy. So really good action for a buzzbait. And you know, a lot of people, when they think about, you know, like throwing a buzzbait in like pads or something, they're like, you know, excuse me, they want to throw it on like a 7.3 or like some super heavy rod. That 6-foot 10-inch rod, medium heavy, I have literally pulled 5 and 6 pound bass out of thick pads on a 6-foot 10-inch medium heavy rod because I throw it with 50-pound braid. So when you throw braid, you're able to just really, really horse those fish out of that thick stuff. And it's just really, really important. You know, some people like to throw buzzbaits on mono or fluorocarbon. If that's what you like, then that's fine. But me, I'm a braid guy. I'm a braid guy. I just like to reel it. When the fish comes up and blows up on it, I just like to just pull into him and catch him. So, like I said, Boss Amphibian Tackle Warehouse is where you need to look for that buzzbait. But let's see, the Ross Barnett Reservoir. I've heard of the Ross Barnett Reservoir. I've never fished it, but I got a feeling that the fact that I've heard of it, I got a feeling that it might be really good. So fill me in on that and let me know about that. Does that reservoir have smallmouth in it? I'm not sure. See, I've heard about it for some reason. Let's see. Other than your frog tournament, considered a subscriber trip like 15K subs or something. A subscriber tournament would be pretty cool. I know a lot of the other YouTubers have done stuff like that. I know Ben Milliken did his was absolutely huge. I know like One Rod, One Reel Fishing. He's had like subscriber tournaments and stuff in the past. So, I mean, if that's something that y'all would be, if y'all would be interested in, you know, maybe we could do something like that. And something else too is talking about like the Mock Nation deal is at some point this spring or summer, I'm probably going to have an online tournament. So an online link tournament on that Fishing Chaos app, which I would absolutely let y'all know beforehand when it was going to go down and all that. But it'd probably be like a month-long tournament. So that would be pretty cool to do as well. But like I said, I would announce that on my channel and let y'all know. But that might be something we could do like at some point, like very soon, possibly doing like a tournament, online tournament deal. And then we could look at like another tournament, an actual in-person tournament a little bit down the road. So definitely something that would be pretty cool to do and like to meet people and everybody. I think it would be absolutely awesome because I like meeting people. I like talking about fishing. And, you know, that's kind of why I wanted to do this live personally, was just to like, you know, be able to read y'all's comments, answer them, and just kind of communicate back and forth with people that watch my channel. So that was kind of the, you know, I thought that would be really cool to do. So. It's starting to rain here now. I hear raining on my roof. It's supposed to start raining, you know, sometime right about now. And it's supposed to rain into tomorrow morning. And I think we're actually supposed to get right much rain. It is around here right now. A lot of bodies of water are very muddy. They're very high. They're still cold. Our water's still in the 40s. So we're still definitely in winter time. Wintertime fishing. We're pre-spawn, but we're still, the fish are still deep. They're still doing their wintertime thing. So definitely not some shallow water bassing going on right now. Unfortunately, I wish it was, because that's where I want to be, rather than being out off the bank looking for them or dragging a jig. I mean, it's fun, but I want to be up. I want to be up shallow. I tried to push the issue with a shallow bite last time I went out, and unfortunately it didn't work out for me. So let's see. Bizbait makes a good. I've heard that Bizbait makes a good jerkbait as well. I mean, a good buzzbait as well. Like a toad style buzzbait. I have heard that. So definitely look into that as well. Best finesse jig trailer. So definitely for me, the best finesse jig trailer. So I got a couple finesse jigs tied on right here where I brought my rods in case some of y'all wanted to ask about those. But I'm gonna show y'all the newest one that I throw. And like I said a little bit earlier in the live, this finesse jig right here, the Strike King 3/8 ounce. This jig trailer, and this is going to be a really good flipping bait as well. But this is the new mock crawl. Get it right here in front of me. But this is the new mock crawl. This is coming out March 14th is the release date, March 14th. And it's going to be on Tackle Warehouse. So this is going to be kind of Tackle Warehouse exclusive, along with the other mock soft plastics. But this is the trailer that I've been throwing on my jig, and you'll see it tomorrow morning in my newest video. You'll see it as well. I catch fish on this jig with this trailer, but this is an absolutely awesome trailer. Like I said, not available right yet, but March 14th is coming. So that's called the Mock Crawl. Also, Rage Scound Bug. So the Rage Scound Bug is an absolutely awesome jig trailer, finesse jig trailer as well. That's a 3-inch, very compact trailer. And so you can use it for flipping. You can use it for whatever you want to. But the Rage Scound Bug is absolutely fantastic. And then I know, I mainly use Strike King lures and all that, but we cannot forget about the good old right here, the Zoom Speed Crawl right there. That's the Zoom Speed Crawl. That is on the back of my black and blue jig. That's in sapphire blue right there. But that's another 3-inch crawl. And they are my favorites. They are my favorites. The Scound Bug is probably my absolute favorite. And the Mock Crawl is, I'm going to say, my new favorite. I've been very lucky to been able to be testing these baits out. And I've caught a ton of fish with that Mock Crawl on the back of my finesse jig. So let's see. Meetup would be, meetup and fit. Yeah, so, yeah, for sure. Meetup and fishing would be super cool. No smallmouth in Ross, but Pickwick has smallmouth in North Mississippi. Yeah. Now, Pickwick I've definitely heard of. I've watched tournaments where they fish Pickwick, and I know that's a really good body of water, a really cool body of water. So, John, $5. Thank you, man. I appreciate the contribution to the channel. I appreciate that a lot. I appreciate it. So thank you for that, John. So somebody asked, Tolly asked, what is the biggest challenge for me with live scope? So um, live scope can be for some people, it's a sore subject. It's not a sore subject to me. Um, it's, it's just, it is what it is. It's fishing in today's world. Whether you like it or not, it's how it is. I use it. I don't love it. Like, don't love it, but I mean, I use it, so biggest challenge in live scope, I would definitely say, is just getting used to picking out what the fish are and being able to learn what species you're looking at. So now I've gotten to where I can look on the screen and basically tell what type of fish I'm looking at and what size, relative size, that fish is. Um, Obviously casting, you want to, um, that's something you have to get used to as well, because, your transducer, where your transducer is facing, literally you have a very small cone in front of your boat. So I have mine on my trolling motor and I have it lined up with the arrow on my trolling motor. They make these little stick things now that you can put, and they kind of show and guide you exactly where your transducer is facing. But I just use my arrow on my trolling motor. But the window is so narrow that if you cast and miss it, you're not going to be able to see your lure. So that was me in the beginning. I was like, I was throwing in the general direction of where my arrow was pointing, and I'm like, God, I can't see my bait. Where's my bait at? I cannot see it. And it took me a little bit of time to figure out that you have to be like exact. Like your cast has to be so exact. It has to be so precise in front of you. And one thing about it is, one thing I figured out, if you're looking at that fish, it's a big fish or a fish you're casting to. If you throw and you miss that fish, so you don't see your bait falling down to it or anything, you need to go ahead and reel up and you need to recast and make a better cast. And truthfully, what I try to do is I don't like to be any closer to a fish than 30 foot, but I don't like to be further away than 50 foot. I like that 30 to 50 foot is like a sweet spot for being able to see your bait. I run my live scope on 100 foot distance, but like that 30 to 50 foot, I can see my lure really well. Even a crappie jig, I can see it falling really well. So, the main thing is just, you have to get out there and use it, and you have to just really learn it, get used to it, watch some YouTube videos on it. And just kind of, it's, I know a lot of people don't have a ton of time to put time on the water, maybe as much as some other people that use it. So I don't want to be that guy that says time on the water, but truthfully, this is one of those things where time on the water really does make a big difference, because I've had it for about a year and 2 months now. And I would just now say that I'm like truthfully getting the hang of really becoming effective with it. Like where I really can throw my lure where it needs to be thrown. I can pick out the different fish, like dial in my cast, to make them more exact, kind of see how the fish are reacting to the lure, that type of thing. I would say now I'm finally getting around to where I feel a lot more comfortable with it and where I'm a lot more effective with it. So, that's for being, somebody that doesn't like love fishing out deep and doesn't like love scoping per se. Me personally, I have gotten very comfortable with it, and I do utilize it a decent bit, especially now in the winter. I mean, I know, everybody has their opinion on it, but, it's a tool that I have in the boat. It has definitely helped me catch more fish. And, yeah, I'm not going to throw shade at anybody that uses it. That's for sure, because I've been bass fishing now for 34 years. I've been bass fishing. And in all of my years of fishing, it is by far the most effective um, thing that I've ever used as far as fishing wise. When mapping come out, better graphs, side imaging, all that stuff was like super effective. I will admit, but as far as when you compare it to live scope, it's really no comparison. It's the uh, best thing that's ever came out as far as like absolutely um, a game changer. And that's like what I call it. I just call it a game changer because that's what it is for somebody that uses it. I mean, it's just that's the way it is. Send me some pics. I mean, you can go follow me on um, Instagram and send me some pictures on Instagram for sure. And yeah, like just send me if you want to send me some pictures, send them on Instagram or either go to Gunfish TV on Facebook, and you can send them in Messenger if you want to. Sapphire blue, a scound bug, like that scound bug is an awesome, awesome bait. Thanks, Daniel. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate your support. You comment on every video. I appreciate that very much, man. I appreciate it. Oh, I'm going to go up real quick. My favorite football jig to use, that is definitely the Strike King 3/8 ounce finesse football jig. And I've shown that right here. The 3/8 ounce Strike King finesse football jig in blue crawl. That is my absolute favorite finesse jig. War Eagle makes a really good one too. Half ounce, they make a round head finesse jig. That's a really good jig as well. But that 3/8 ounce football jig is my favorite. That's my favorite. Favorite one in black and blue and in that blue crawl. That's it's really good. It's my favorite football jig. Even though it's a finesse jig, it's still my favorite football jig. It really, really catches them. Let's see. Totally answer is if on or works. Not exactly sure. I think that reference is to live scope. It definitely works. It definitely works. It's sometimes I feel like it almost works too good, but that's not for me to say or argue on or anything like that. So rod socks. I mean, honestly, Gary, I just use just the cheap ones from Bass Pro. I would definitely say that probably the neoprene ones probably are the best. Like if you're going to invest money into some really good rod socks, I would suggest probably like the neoprene ones. But I use just the regular, like, I guess the original rod socks. Like they look like a Chinese finger trap, basically. They're basically made out of wire loom. And they work well, and they keep your rods organized and keep them from getting like just in a total mess. But the neoprene ones, I think, are probably like really good. But I think they're a little bit more expensive, maybe in the $10 to $12 range, maybe. Whereas you can get the other ones for like, I don't know, $5 or something. But I don't really prefer one over the other. But the neoprene ones, I think, would probably be the best option for rod socks, probably. But let's see, John, I would love scope, but I'm working on a boat first. Hey, like I said, I mean, live scope is totally 100% not necessary. You're looking at somebody that I literally grew up fishing, wading the river, walking up and down a shallow river, learning how to bass fish, and fishing with my dad out of a 1974 Sears John boat with a trolling motor. That is how I learned to bass fish. Fishing the river, and then I think when I was 15, I ended up buying an Alumacraft John boat, which is actually the same John boat that you see me fish out of to this day. That Alumacraft John boat with the 99 Mercury on it, that is the boat that I bought, my very first boat that I ever bought. I was 15 years old. That was 25 years ago. I bought that boat. Didn't even have a truck to pull it with. That was the first thing I ever bought in my life. Big purchase wise, I bought that boat for $1,500 from a guy down the street. Excuse me, and I still have it to this day. And I've caught more fish out of that boat and out of that aluminum John boat, that Sears John boat that I still have. Caught more fish out of that than any other boat I've ever had in my life. So when people talk about boats, I say get whatever you can get, whether it's an aluminum John boat with a 2.5 horsepower Tohatsu or with a trolling motor, handheld $30 trolling motor from Walmart off clearance. Like, it really does not matter. It does not matter. Bass fishing is bass fishing. You don't need all the newest, the latest tech, all of that stuff. I try to really tell people that. And it's really like, me and my wife actually had this discussion a little bit today while we were watching live, because when you look at the professionals' boats now, and you see, I don't know, I mean, some of these guys have 8+ screens on their boats. When the young angler sees that, it makes them sometimes, or may make them think that if they don't have that they can't go out and catch fish, that they can't go out and have a good time, that they can't go out and catch big bass. And it's so far from the truth. It is so far from the truth. I've caught giants out of a kayak. And when I say a kayak, I don't mean none of the nice souped up bass kayaks you see now with trolling motors and live scope and all that. I'm talking about an ocean kayak that was never made to be fished out of. I've caught 8+ pounders out of those canoes. I've caught 8+ pounders on public bodies of water out of that 1974 Sears John boat with a trolling motor and a battery, and out of my dad's old one-man bass tracker, with a trolling motor. So, I mean, I just tell you, just get whatever you can get. Get you a boat, something cheap, a John boat, whatever you can find, and get out there on the water like anybody. And that's so important. I mean, bank fishing is fun too. I'm not taking anything away from that whatsoever. But I always tell people, don't think that you cannot just get something, an aluminum boat, a John boat, or whatever, and just go out and have the best time of your life, because you absolutely can. You absolutely can. Let's see, Forrest. Let's see, 3 years. Thank you for going in depth on things. Really enjoyed your line video. I appreciate that, Forrest. I appreciate it. I'm gonna really try to do more informative videos. I want to work some more of them in on like riding reels, like specific riding reels for specific techniques, specific lines, specific lures. I really want to get into that a little bit more. So I want to be able to do that, but I really appreciate you watching and comment and all of that. I appreciate it a lot. I really do. I take note of the same people that comment over and over, and I appreciate it so much. So yeah, I'm going to work on those videos for us. I'm going to try to get them out very, very soon. So Fatty Fishing says neoprene ones are too heavy. Okay. And look, they might be, because personally, I've only seen the neoprene covers. I've not used them. So they might be on the heavy side, like he said. So you might want to consider that before you get the neoprene ones. You might want to consider, because I didn't think about that. Let's see. I appreciate that, G-Rod. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Most successful early spawn pattern and target areas. So I'm assuming early spawn, you're referring to probably pre-spawn and target area. So I'm a river fisherman at heart. Like, literally, that's where I learned to fish. And I didn't really start fishing lakes or like hardcore fishing lakes till probably about 18 years ago. So when I'm fishing, I'm going to talk about rivers really quick first, and then I'm going to talk about the lakes really quick. I'm going to really summarize this because this is a topic that I could talk about for a long time. And maybe I need to make a long form video specifically talking about this because we are getting into this time of year. But in a river system, you always want to look for slack water pockets and creeks and coves off the main river. So right now, the fish are going to be staging on the points of those areas, right in the current breaks, right at the mouths of these coves, and they're just sitting there really ready to push up into these pockets to spawn. So when the water gets up in like the mid 40s, like upper 40s, these fish will really push up and just sit there, and they'll suspend out in the mouths of these pockets. And then as the water pushes up into the 50s, they really push up and make a really big push. And in a river system, this is when you can catch a lot of fish, a lot of big fish, and you can catch them shallow. I mean, you can catch them like less than 2 foot in water that's in the low 50s and even the upper 40s because these big females are pushing up in these areas to spawn. They're feeding up for the spawn, and, you can really catch them. So on a river system, if you're looking at a map, look at these creeks, creek arms or coves that go off the river, and you want to put your focus there. So as far as a lake, it's somewhat similar, but somewhat different. On a lake, if you have a main creek, so you have your main lake, and then you have a creek arm that goes off. And then a lot of times on creek arms, you have these other smaller coves that go off the creek arms as it works into the back. So you want to right now, with where the water's like right now we're still in the mid 40s, but the fish are going to be on some of those outermost points. So you have your creek, some of those first little pockets, where as you go into the creek, some of those first 2 or 3, it depends on how many pockets you have that go up in there. Some creeks might have a ton, some might not have that many, but you want to look at creeks that have like where the creek channel swings very close to a point, on the main creek. That is where a lot of fish will be staged up right now. As the water warms, these fish are going to push into the little coves off of the main creek arm to spawn. So, right now I would focus more on like the secondary points off a creek arm or the main points, and basically where the creek goes to the mouth of a little cove. They'll be staged up on these multiple different points. And then as it warms, these fish are going to push up into these coves, into the shallower flats to spawn. So that's where I like to really focus, right now on, especially a bigger lake. A smaller lake, obviously, you might have less pockets. You might have, a ton of fish on like points, or you might not have a lot of secondary points. It kind of depends on where you're fishing. But on the bigger bodies of water, I like to look at a creek. Then I like to look at some of the first pockets that go off of that creek, and I like to focus on those points right now. And as it warms, they'll push further up into that creek and further up into the spawning pockets. But like I said, creek channel, main point, that's a good spot to start at right now. That's where I like to target. So let's see. John, let's see. So 55 years young, looking for something I can afford to ride into retirement with. Hey, I feel you, man. I feel you. I don't know if you'd ever want to look at aluminum. Aluminum sometimes can be a little bit more affordable. The aluminum boat market has actually went crazy the last several years. Aluminum boats used to be like very affordable now, but the market now for them has gotten a little bit, I want to say, I don't know what the right words for them are. There's more people looking at aluminum, more people buying aluminum. So therefore, supply and demand, the price has freaking went up just like it has on everything, literally. But a good glass boat, definitely you can find some good fiberglass boats, 18 and a half, 19 footers with low hour motors. You can definitely find some good ones as well on those. If you just look like, I don't know, I hate Facebook Marketplace, so I hate to even say look there, but you can find some deals on there sometimes. Mitchell Kirby, like your show. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. What tournaments Are you fishing this year, and are we going to see Lee with you in them? So I'm fishing this year. I'm fishing a single series tournament, Southeastern Bass Series, which is actually a single man tournament series. Lee is fishing another single man series, so we're fishing two different single man series. There is going to be an afternoon series this year as well. I'm not putting them on, but somebody else is putting them on. And I'm going to try to get Lee to jump in the boat with me in some of those. Lee, I know y'all probably noticed, a lot of longtime subscribers, that Lee hasn't been in the boat with me as much. That has nothing to do with our friendship or anything like that. Lee has kids. I have kids. And if any of you all know that has kids, as they grow up, you have sports and you have different things going on the weekends and different things going on during the week. And sometimes it makes it a little bit difficult to line schedules up where you can get together and fish. So that is where we've kind of been over the last probably 6 months. It's just been something just really hard to line up schedules where either one of us doesn't have something going on. And, I'm definitely going to try to get him in the boat. We're going to try to fish some tournaments together this year. So hopefully I can get him in the boat with me. Hopefully. So it'll happen. It'll happen. But Charles Martin, enjoying my live show. I appreciate that, Charles. I appreciate it. Gifted, let's see, G-Rod Blessing gifted a vintage 1982 Ranger 330V. Oh, wow. That's pretty cool. 82 330V. Those are like really cool old Ranger boats. Like they're really, really cool. That's a pretty cool boat to have. Pro XS 115. Oh, you're going to love that motor. I have mine's a 2014 model Pro XS on my boat. But the newer Pro XSs, they are some sweet motors. They're so quiet. You can literally not even hear them running. They are really, really good boats. Really good. Harrison Jones. Let's see. I've watched for years since you fish very similarly. I appreciate that, Harrison. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm a shallow water guy. I know probably some people cringe when you see me looking at live scope a little bit. But I'm a river fisherman at heart. River fishing means shallow water fishing. And anytime I can go up shallow and catch them on a spinnerbait, swim jig, let's see, frog, buzzbait, anything like that, flipping, anytime I can catch them shallow, that is the way that I want to be fishing because that is the way that I love to fish. There's nothing better than a good shallow water bite. And I'm so ready for this weather to turn and for those fish to push up to the bank and this water get out of the 40s. And I'm just ready to catch some doggone fish. I really am. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good time. I'm going to have some good videos, some shallow water fishing. I'm excited about it. And hopefully going to have some big fish catches for y'all really soon. Really soon. The 188P, John. Yeah, look, I have no complaints about my boat whatsoever. I have no complaints about my boat whatsoever. I like it. It handles water well. It has a really huge front deck for an aluminum series boat. Really, really nice. The only thing that I will tell anybody when it comes to an aluminum boat, a bigger aluminum boat, is it is aluminum. So therefore, when you get in rougher water and you get in boat wakes and you get in, let's say like, some pretty good, I want to say like 2+ footers. So like 2+ foot waves, chop or whatever, you do tend to feel it a little bit. The boat's so light, they get to where they don't ride the absolute best in rough water. They can absolutely handle it, but they get to where they can't ride as good as a glass boat because obviously a glass boat is much heavier. So it cuts through the waves better, has a deeper keel. All these things come into play when you get to thinking about thinking about boats. So the boat's great. If you're going to be running in heavy chop, I might would suggest looking more towards fiberglass. If you fish smaller lakes or you don't have to worry about a lot of, like, excuse me, like waves or like boat traffic or anything like that, then aluminum is like great. Or if you fish rivers, aluminum is like really hard to beat. Aluminum is the way to go. So who do I have winning Lake Fork? Well, so Trey McKinney obviously is leading. He is dialed. He's had 33 pounds 2 days in a row. But I would be lying if I didn't say that Matty Wong is catching them really good. He's got that glide bait bite figured out. So I'm going to say between, I don't know, it really depends on tomorrow if Trey McKinney can like really keep going what he's got going. Because I think tomorrow that the fish are going to change a little bit. And I think there's going to be more fish that push up a little bit shallow. So I think it's going to be who can adapt. But if they stay out deep the way they are, I'm going to say Ben Milliken for a top 5, 100%. I'm going to say Ben Milliken for a top 5, potentially a win, potentially. But if Matty Wong and Trey McKinney can keep doing what they're doing and it just not fade and go away from them, I'm going to say, I don't know. I kind of want Matty Wong to win it. I'm going to be honest with you. My wife just said Wong or Milliken. I agree. I mean, I kind of want Matty Wong to win it. I met Matty Wong a couple years ago at the Classic in South Carolina, and he was probably one of the coolest pros that I've ever met. He talked to me and my kids. He never acted like he had somewhere to go or somewhere to be. Like he just stood there and talked about fishing with me for probably well over 15 minutes. And just he lived from Hawaii, but he's a West Coast guy. And obviously I'm an East Coast guy, flipping frog in like shallow water. So like he wanted to like listen to me talk about the way that I fish because it differed from the way that he fished, West Coast, like deep, clear water, like drop shotting, small stuff, light line. And he was interested in listening to me talk about flipping 20-pound tests, throwing frogs in matted vegetation around timber and stuff like that. So it was really cool to interact with him that way. So I'm going to say just based off that, Matty Wong, but I'm going to say Milliken is definitely a sleeper. When you get into any event like this, where it's like a true live scope tournament, you can never say that Ben Milliken is out of it. He's hovering right now. I think he's only 9 pounds out of the lead in 12th. So if Wong or McKinney or any of the guys up top slip, then he definitely could be up there. But also, like, look at Stetson Blaylock. And I really like Stetson Blaylock as an angler as well. But Stetson Blaylock had 37 pounds yesterday. And today he like slipped, and that happens. Like it wasn't his day. And I didn't look. I mean, I think he still made top 50, I think. But I don't know. It's I'm going to say Wong. I'm just going to say I'm pulling for Matty Wong. How about that? And I'm pulling for Milliken for a top 5. So that's my picks. But Trey McKinney's so dialed. Whenever you break off a 513 and you literally catch that fish 30 minutes later and get your jerkbait back, you got everything for you going right. And somebody like that, when they have that much stuff going right, they can be like seriously hard to beat. So I don't know. He's riding that high right now, and he's doing good. So we'll see. I'm definitely going to be tuned in tomorrow to see what goes down. Daniel, what's up, man? How you doing? Towns, should I get Live Scope or Mega 360? Live Scope. I'm like not even going to think on that. I'm going to be honest with you. Live Scope 100%. If somebody's got a choice to get Live Scope or get Mega 360, I'm going to tell them Live Scope every single time. Every single time. And once you use it, you will know exactly why I'm saying that. Because it is the biggest game changer there's ever been in bass fishing. 360 is really, really cool technology, but I'm telling you, Live Scope. And one thing about it is people act like Live Scope isn't a very good shallow water tool. I've caught fish that I've seen in 3 foot of water on Live Scope. Like even throwing a spinnerbait at them in 3 foot of water. I was catching crappie the other day on Live Scope in 2.5 foot of water. Like, so Live Scope, 100%. 100%. If you're going to spend the money, get Live Scope. And if you're going to get it, get Garmin. Garmin with the LSV 34. If you have the money, get a Garmin with the LSV 34. I'm telling you, it is hands down the best. Hands down the best. So just throw that out there. I think Milliken is holding something back as well. I made that comment to my wife as we were riding to go get dinner tonight. I said, I really think Milliken probably has somewhere that he's got a stack of biggins and he's waiting to really blow it out in the water tomorrow. But we'll find that out tomorrow. It looked like McKinney was more like roaming to me, like he was roaming, just looking for like individual fish, and he was finding them, like for sure. But I think Milliken, just for some reason, he hasn't had a camera on him. I don't really know why, but for some reason, I feel like he's got something in his back pocket. Personally, I feel like he's got something in the back. Let's see. Yeah, that G-Rod, that's like really cool that you got that older Ranger. Like those are super, super cool boats. You definitely hit the jackpot on that, especially being it was in good condition. That's pretty dang cool. Pretty cool. Daniel, let's see. Here's a question for you. What do you think you've been fishing most of my life? What do you think you've been fishing most of your life? I'm trying to think. So, Daniel, are you referring to baits? Like what baits I've been fishing most of my life? I'm not trying to figure out exactly what you mean by what do you think you've been fishing most of your life. Baits wise, let's see, can a tournament be fun? Be run with both with a sign up sheet? Oh, let's see, Daniel. Okay, let's see. Payout based on be run with both four. Can a tournament be run with both forfeit and traditional with a sign up sheet for four? You know, it's hard to say, and like I really feel like there's a need. Let me check my battery on my computer here to make sure we're not gonna die. Where's my battery at? I don't even know where my battery life is. That's kind of bad. Oh, we're getting a little bit low. I don't know how much longer I'm able to go on here. So maybe if I got another 10 minutes on here, y'all, because my computer is getting a little bit low. But matter of fact, let me look and see what it says right here. It says I got 19% remaining. So yeah, maybe another 10 minutes. But so, whenever tournament wise, in like a local little series around here does it. What they do is they have a tournament every single weekend, and they do the last tournament of the month is non-forward facing sonar. So you literally can have no live scope on your boat for that last tournament of the month. So I think it's like really, really cool that they do that. So it'd be really hard to divide it. When you're talking about like a local tournament, I do think there are some bigger tournament series coming out that aren't going to allow forward facing sonar. I think some of those are like in the works right now. But, just, I don't know. It'd be really hard to do unless you just made everybody like not have it. Like if you just said this is a tournament and you can't use it, and they like, I don't know how they have to have it. I don't even know how you would like just have it disconnected or have the whole unit out in the boat. Like I'm not 100% sure, but I think that would be more of a way to do it. But I don't know. I'm sure, with as big a topic as it is right now, I'm sure that sometime in the very near future, you're going to be seeing tournaments popping up, not allowing it, or different things like that. I think they're definitely coming. So, let's see. Question. So, what do you think you've been fishing for most of your life, Daniel? I think if you're talking about lure wise, most of my life, I mean, I would say like if we're talking about like my most productive lure, like ever, I would say probably a soft plastic crawl Texas rig. Truthfully, that's like flipping Texas rig, soft plastic crawl. To me, that's probably the most effective bait I've ever used. I know now y'all see me like flip a rage bug a lot. So like here is a swamp water blue rage bug. I know y'all see me catch a lot of fish on that bad boy right there. So that's Texas rig with a 3/8 ounce tungsten right there. But I would say a Texas rig crawl bait, probably the best, most effective thing that I've ever used personally, and one of my favorites. Also, one of my favorite baits. Let's see. Towns also had the same boat, and I love it, man. High school tournaments and fishing in general. Yeah, yeah. The same boat. I'm assuming you're talking about the RT 188, like mine. I'm assuming, but yeah, it's a really good boat. It's a really good boat. What kind of batteries do you run or recommend? I want lithiums, but so expensive. Yeah, so I run in my boat. I run Interstate. They are called. They're deep cycle, but they are extended. They're not AGM. They're extended wet. I'm trying to remember exactly what they are, but they're deep cycle. They're lead acid, but they're like an extended series. So they're like I run 27 group 27s, and they're 90 amp hour batteries. So I have 3 of them in my boat. So I have 2 for my trolling motor, and then I have 1 for my cranking battery, and that's also my house battery that I run my graphs off of. So I run my live scope box off of 30 amp hour lithium separate, but the graph itself I run off of my house battery. So definitely look into the Interstate, the deep cycle, whether you go with the AGM or the extended wet cycle, the wet cycle battery, because the wet deep cycle lead acid, I've had them in my boat now for over 2 years, and I have used the crap out of them and recharged them a ton. And they are really, really good batteries. And they're not crazy expensive. Lithium is so expensive. And I know you can get, batteries on Amazon now, like cheaper lithiums, and I think some people have had some pretty moderate success with them, but I don't have one to really recommend because I have not used them. So I don't have any personal experience with them, but I have had personal experience with the Interstate, the Deep Cycle Extended Lead Acid series. So I would definitely look into those. They're really, really good batteries. So, let's see the jig. How I fish? Oh, the jig. So I'm gonna do a long form video for you all on fishing the jig because I have so many people comment Oh my, and I didn't realize this before, but I have so many people comment on my videos where I catch fish on the jig about how they don't have confidence in a jig, how they never throw a jig because they don't have confidence in it. It's um pretty crazy to me because it's such an effective bait, but it's not crazy in the fact that people don't use it. But to me, it's crazy in the fact that I utilize it so much, and to see how many people don't use it. So I want to change that. So if you watch my channel and you see me catch fish on it, I want you to use it because it is an absolute catcher, especially this time of year, and it catches really, really big fish. So I want to do a video on how I fish it, where I throw it, and then I'm also going to do a skipping video on jigs, on skipping jigs, because I know you all love to watch me skip docks. So I'm going to do a video on that very soon as well. I'm trying to get one of those up possibly in the next 2 to 3 weeks, because that's when that dock bite is really, really going to get good on the lakes where you have a lot of docks. So I still use, how much do those batteries run? I think they're about 180 a piece, G-Rod. I think they're about 180 a piece, somewhere in there. So not like crazy, not like super cheap, but not crazy, crazy. But they're really good batteries, and they also have a very, very good warranty on them as well. They have like a, don't quote me on this, but I think they have like a 2-year free replacement, and then they have like a 3-year prorated after that. So really good warranty on those batteries as well. So Michaela, thank you. I love your videos. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciated that. You got me fishing with swamp water blue. Fish catches have improved. Charles Martin. I'm telling you, that swamp water blue is one, and swamp water blue, sapphire blue, and emerald blue to me are some of the most underutilized colors out there. I personally I catch a ton of fish on them. I think they're some of the most underutilized colors ever. I think they're so good. They're such a good color, especially in rivers, coastal rivers, dirty water in a lake or pond with dirty water. They absolutely catch them. Do not overlook sapphire blue and swamp water blue. Do not overlook them. They are absolutely fantastic. When I fish shallow with four-phase sonar, I keep it in forward mode. I keep it in forward. You can see them so good. I don't use it in the turn sideways landscape mode, or perspective, or whatever it's called. You can see them really good in the forward facing mode. You can see them so good. It's crazy. It just, I don't know. It's one of those things where in the beginning I thought it was just a deep water tool, and then I very, very shortly figured out that it's a really good shallow water tool as well. So definitely, definitely keep it in forward facing. I do personally, and I catch a lot of fish with it. So yeah, I appreciate that, Daniel. Thank you. I appreciate it. I work hard on the channel, so I appreciate it. And I'm gonna get Lee back in the boat. I'm gonna get Lee back in the boat. Falls Reservoir in Victoria. I have not. That's going to be something I'm going to have to look at, and look at going. I'm going to have to look at going there, because I'm going to see. Let's see. I'm gonna actually text my wife and ask her if she can bring out my charge cable charger real quick, because I don't want this thing to die in the middle of this. Let's see. Sorry about this. I thought my laptop was going to last a little bit longer than this, but it's kind of dying on me a little bit. I'm going to try it. So Falls Reservoir in Victoria, I'm going to have to look that up and see how far that is away from me, because that's definitely somewhere that I would like to go. Just want to say thank you. This is from John Rice. Want to say thank you and sharing your knowledge and views with us. Definitely should, and we'll have much success on YouTube. I appreciate that, John. I appreciate it a lot. I definitely do. I try to put a lot of time and effort into my channels and try to bring everybody some enjoyable content, straight up fishing content. I try not to do a bunch of crazy stuff on my channel. You know, obviously my channel's not a challenge channel or anything like that. You know, I'm just a straight up fishing guy. And as I tell everybody, the person you see in my videos is the person you're going to meet if you meet me in real life. That's who I am. And something else too. Oh, man, it's coming up. My battery's running low right now. Oh, please don't die on me. Hopefully my wife is going to bring me my cable real quick. I don't think she's seen it yet. So hopefully this my battery gets here before this thing dies. I think she's coming out here now. It's dying on me. It's dying on me. Y'all hang on real quick. I'm still only going to go a little bit longer, but I don't want this to die. So just give me 1 second. I'm plugging my laptop in. I don't even, is my cable even going to be long enough? Oh, I need to put it right here. Oh, this thing ain't been used in so long. There we go. Yeah, I got it. Yep. All right, y'all. We got some juice. Just plugged it in. That thing was about to die. It was like at 2%. I thought I was going to lose it, but anyway, let's see. What was I talking about? Oh yeah. So anyway, I was just saying that, you know, fishing wise, I always said when I started YouTube, I wasn't going to do anything crazy. And I wanted everybody, you know, to be able to see my channel and kind of relate to it. And if you met me somewhere, then you would be meeting me, obviously, not some character you see on YouTube. You would be seeing me as a person. And I'm the same person that you see in my videos. That's just who I am. I'm too old to be acting all crazy. But something else I wanted to bring up, I am going to be at the Bassmaster Classic. I'm going to be at the Bassmaster Classic this year. I'm going to be in the Lose mock booth. And so it's going to be a good time. But I just want to let y'all know while y'all are up here that I am going to be there at the Classic every day. I'm going to be there at the mock booth and walking around. So I want to throw that out there as well. I do plan to do some more lives in the future. It seemed, I mean, this has been pretty fun interacting with y'all, answering y'all's questions. I really enjoyed it. I didn't even think that I was going to have this many people watching and commenting and all that. So I appreciate everybody that has gotten up here, like for sure. I appreciate it big time. But let's see. All right, what do we got else? Let's see. Raptors or power poles? Well, you know, I have a Talon on my boat, and I really like my Talon, which the Raptors are kind of similar. Power poles, obviously, they work a little different, but I use mine almost every time that I go fishing. I'm going to be honest with you. It'd be hard for me to fish without them now. Launching the boat and everything and just pull it up by the dock and dropping that thing or being shallow, retying all that. Like, they're pretty invaluable. I'm not going to lie. You don't need them by any means, but if somebody's looking at potentially getting them and you have the funds to get them, I definitely highly recommend getting some type of shallow water anchor. I really do. You need to come northwest this spring. 20-pound bags are easy to find in the spawn. Northwest. Oh yeah. I do plan on fishing the Northwest River and the North River. I'm going to try to fish that coastal stuff a little bit more, like Back Bay and all of that. I'm going to try to fish that a little bit more because it's not that far away from me, and I mean they fish the way that I like to fish, so I definitely got to get out there and fish them for sure. Um, the spotlight, yeah. So I have, I've actually turned down some pretty good deals on some Ultrexes and even some good deals on some Garmins and stuff. And the reason for that is because in the river, and I know y'all don't see this, a lot of y'all don't see this, but man, I am rough on a trolling motor. I mean, I am so rough on a trolling motor. I just run into logs and plow into the bottom and this, that, and the other. And that Fortrex is like a freaking tank and it can just take it. So I almost fear that if I put, like a Fortrex, I mean, a Ultrex or, a Move or Garmin or something like that on that, I'm just going to destroy it. So that's what's kept me with my Fortrex. So I may get one in the future, but right now, the Fortrex is what I'm going to hang on to. So yeah, I do need to throw the Hybrid Hunter. I do need to, I actually am going to order some of those. I'm going to get some, and I definitely need to throw one. Some because I know that a lot of people have told me that they are some pretty good catchers. So I do need to do that. Have I met any big name professional fishermen? I have. I've met actually quite a few through the years. I've met Iconelli a couple times. Kevin Van Dam. I've met the Shryock brothers. I've met Ben Milliken, Matty Wong, Takahiro Mori, Ish Monroe, Shaw Grigsby, Denny Brower, Jimmy Houston. Let's see who else. Trying to think of who else I've met. Timmy Horton. I've met quite a few. I've met quite a few. Been pretty lucky to meet them and conversate with some of them. A lot of them like at the Classic and in different places. But I've met some. And they've all been pretty nice. They've all been pretty nice. A scrounger head. A scrounger head. I don't throw it a ton, but when you say people sleep on them, they really do. Because a scrounger head is a doggone catcher. Scrounger head will catch some big, big fish. And I know Matt of SB Fishing used to throw one a lot. I don't think he throws one a ton anymore, but he used to catch a ton of big fish on a scrounger. But I personally don't throw one a lot. So, the double fluke rig. I have thrown the double fluke rig a couple times. I've caught fish on it before too. It's been years since I have thrown it, but it's a really cool rig and it will catch a lot of fish for sure. Let's see. So my true opinion of live scope. Nicholas wants to know my true opinion on live scope, and is it taken away from the art of learning the true skills and knowledge to be a successful bass fisherman? So, and my wife doesn't even fish, but I'm going to tell you, she literally brought up the same point earlier today while we were watching. All right, take it easy, Daniel. Take it easy, man. I appreciate you. Appreciate you watching. We were watching live today, the Bassmaster live, and she brought up the fact that if young anglers come up now from being young until, till they get old, whatever, the young anglers coming up now, if they grow up using live scope and that's all they know, like they know, like looking at that screen, that's a fish, that's a fish, that's a fish. Throw to it, keep changing baits till you get it to bite, chase it around, whatever. Then that's all you're going to know. And you're not going to learn the true skill of fishing. And honestly, that's the truth. And I'm not going to say that you're not going to, because using live scope is a skill. Catching fish is a skill. But it's absolutely going to take away from the intuition and the knowledge gained from time on the water, and you know, what conditions call for what baits and this, that, the other. It's going to take away from a lot of that for the younger guys. Not saying they can't catch fish without it, but a lot of these younger guys coming up, if they only learn to bass fish through live scope, and they only, if they only like think of a bite from a fish through the screen, then that will absolutely change the way that they fish and their thought process on fishing. And if they were faced with a time that they didn't have it, then they're literally going to be lost, because they're not going to have that forethought and that skill and that intuition to say, okay, well, 5 years ago, I fished, it was a February day, water temps were 52, and I caught them in 2 foot of water on the bank, flipping, because I sucked all day for 5 hours. And I said, well, let me pick up a doggone crawl and flip up to the bank. And literally in 5 flips, I caught a 2.5 pounder in 2 foot of water. And then I figured them out. And then the rest of the day, I was able to go and do that. And then the next year, I was able to go and do that. And the next year, And that was through knowledge and learning that myself. Chasing a suspended fish out in the great abyss with live scope and throwing a jerkbait to it and catching it, well, I mean, there's not a ton to learn from that. You caught the fish, but there's not a ton to learn from it as far as how a bass acts when they move shallow, this, that, and the other. Because obviously, if you don't have live scope, you're not going to be sitting 100 yards off a point in 30 foot of water randomly throwing a jerkbait. You're just not going to be doing it. And that's why these fish are able to be caught now, because nobody else was doing this. And now these fish are just, that were once just like whales swimming in the great ocean and nobody ever messed with them. Well, now they can be targeted because they can be seen, So, my true thoughts on live scope, I don't hate it because I utilize it myself. But as far as if I think it's going to change the direction of fishing and change how young people fish that have used it and have that technology, I absolutely think it's going to change the whole landscape of fishing. I mean, look at the fork tournament right now. Everybody in the top 10, pretty sure, I'm almost positive, live scope. I think, what do we have? 5+ people in the top 10 right now are rookies that are, I mean, look, Trey McKinney just turned 19 years old. Literally turned 19 years old. And this, I'm not even going to call him a kid because he's 19. But this guy is crushing them with live scope. And I was 19 years old. I was in a beat up John boat, So the opportunity now is different for these younger guys through high school, college. Just a lot of things changed. And I don't hate it. I don't hate on anybody for it because it's there. It's available. I think it's absolutely awesome that these younger guys have access to this type of stuff because it's absolutely amazing. It is. But I think the landscape of bass fishing is forever changed. That's my basic opinion on it. I think bass fishing is just changed forever with the technological age. It's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. Cut my teeth on fishing the banks for the large part of my life. And when I got a boat, it was kind of a shock, but awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, the credge. Tell me, I got a credge. I got one. And I'm going to try that thing. I got it. I actually was going to take it fishing with me the other day, and I forgot I left it at home, but I do have one. So I got to use that. I definitely got to use that. Yeah, Rod, I enjoy fishing the bank. I enjoy um, I enjoy fishing out of a kayak. I enjoy fishing out of a freaking canoe, an aluminum boat, a bass boat, whatever. I enjoy fishing everywhere, everywhere. It's so fun. It's so fun. Do you think people that eat bass start using? Do you think we'll be seeing less big fish caught because of live scope? Charles, that's hard to say, and that's what some people have been saying is that it's going to affect uh, the fish population. Um, I think I don't know. If people keep bass and eat them, then obviously it's going to have a direct impact. I don't know how many people are keeping them and eating them. I think the crappie. I think you could definitely see an impact on the crappie because I mean, honestly, a crappie is a pretty easy fish to catch, and I've been catching a ton of them here recently with live scope. And if you have a lake that doesn't have like a massive population of crappie, and people are going and like really whacking them, I think you could really hurt the population, like for sure. And the same could be said with bass if people are keeping bass. Um, so I think it's a matter of whether they keep them or if they throw them back. If they're throwing them back, bass has got to eat. They might get a little bit more finicky, but I don't think it'll like bother the population too bad. I think it's just, I think it'll just, make them a little bit harder to catch, honestly. Um, a friend of mine took his live scope off because he said it took his main focus and felt it was too much for him. Yeah, I mean, you have to be, having it, you have to be very careful that it does not become your main focus. It's easy to get engrossed in it. And sometimes I even find myself looking down at it and I'm kind of like, and I don't stare at it for like hours like some people would chase fish around. I don't do that. I kind of look down at it as I'm like fishing shallow and fishing along the bank or whatever. And if I see a fish, I'll say, oh, there's a good bass sitting out there at 50 foot, and I'll pick up the jig or jerkbait or whatever, throw to it. But I try not to get fully engrossed into it. But some people, it does become their like primary main focus and they don't focus on like anything anymore. That's all they focus on is just straight up, head down, staring at that screen, and they get so engrossed in it that they're not paying attention to anything else. And next thing you know, like 2 hours has went by, and you've you've whacked them with live scope, or you've just absolutely sucked because you've just been chasing around fish that won't bite. So it can go definitely one way or the other. I think it's a very good tool to use if you know how to utilize it correctly and you don't let it just become your like absolute main focus. But if like that's all you're doing and that's all you're staring at and you're not fishing like any other way, then yeah, it might be, that might be the time to say, okay, I might need to turn this off, or I might need to, and I found myself turning it off. Like I fished along before, but looking at it, and I'm like, nope. These fish are shallow. These fish are doing something else, whatever. I'm wasting time, and I'll cut it off, and I'll go to the bank and fish or whatever, So, yeah, talons on your boat are really talons they're awesome. They're awesome. And the really good thing with a talon is you don't have a pump in your boat like you have for power poles. You have to have those pumps in your boat, those hydraulic pumps. And with talons, you don't have to have that. That's one appeal to me of the talons. So, ever came out. We were let's see. I mean, it's like before live scope ever came out because most of us have been fishing for many years. We were catching. Oh yeah, I mean, I mean, like I said, I've been bass fishing for. I'm 40, and I started bass fishing when I was 6. I caught my first bass when I was 6. My dad was a bass fisherman. I became completely just engrossed in bass fishing. Started using a bait caster when I was 7, and just never looked back. Just bass fishing, bass fishing, bass fishing. All I cared about was catching a bass. I love catching other species as well. I like catching catfish, long-nosed gars, my second favorite species to catch. I like catching crappie. I like catching bluegill. I'm gonna try to do like some fly rod this year. I used to love fly rod, and I haven't done it in several years, but I actually did love the fly rod, so I'm gonna try to actually get some fly rod videos up. I'm gonna try to get some different stuff up on the channel this year. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a good time. But yeah, I mean, like, and the thing is, the pros, like those guys were catching, except for the younger ones. But I mean, even Ben Milliken, he was crushing fish long before LiveScope came out. This guy was an excellent fisherman, absolutely excellent fisherman long before LiveScope, and he took LiveScope and took it to the next level. So yeah, I mean, yeah, we were all catching bass and having fun catching them long before LiveScope ever came out, for sure. Long before. Jimmy Houston back in the. Oh yeah, hey, I watched him too on the country music on network. I think it was, what was it, the Tennessee? I can't remember. The Nashville network. I think it was. They were. My grandma she would record them for me on tape. So when I'd come to her house, I could watch them because we didn't have cable where I live. So it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. But yeah, I watched those growing up too. You've obviously been watching them a little bit longer than me, but that's good stuff. That's good stuff. That was true entertainment. Those guys caught them. They caught giants, and they knew how to do it right. They definitely were catching them when the old flasher was out. So I appreciate that, Charles. I appreciate it, man. I've really enjoyed this. Sitting down, talking with y'all, and doing this live Q&A. I appreciate everybody that's tuned in, for sure. And I'll definitely do this again. If y'all want me to do this again and schedule another live at some point, and we can have like a different discussion focal point, we can do that, where we actually have like an actual discussion on a focal point, like maybe springtime fishing or pre-spawn fishing, and like that's the main focus. We can definitely do that. So if you want me to schedule another, be sure to go to my most recent post on my YouTube channel, or you can message me on Instagram or Facebook under Gunfish TV or whatever. And let me know, because oh yeah, so G-Rod said, can we do a Q&A more? I mean, we definitely. I really, like I said, I enjoyed this. It was really, really fun doing it. Yeah, TNN. That's it. TNN, the Nashville Network. That's right. That's right. I'd love to see a tournament with all YouTube content created RVA area. Maybe everyone chips in money. That would be really cool. Muffin Top, that'd be really cool. Maybe I could talk to Matt Streichel with SB Fishing TV. Maybe I could talk to him, and maybe we could get like a collaborative YouTube tournament, like just where you get to see like everybody's different point of view, everybody's different video. So I will maybe talk to him soon. Maybe we can get something like that going, because that would be super, super cool. Oh yeah, Gone Fishing 804. Yep, could talk to him too. Yeah, because all those guys are fairly local, and I know we don't fish together a ton, but yeah, that would be really, really cool to do. That'd be really cool to do. So, but let's see, was Bill Dance, Hank Parker, Jimmy Hughes probably would be fishing. Oh yeah, those guys were good. Those guys were good. Yeah, Bubbleville Bassin, I think he's pretty local to me as well. He actually messaged me on Instagram the other day. So we'll try to get something like that going. That would be really fun. We'd have to figure out like a central location. of where to go, pick a lake or whatever, and we could try to get something like that going, because that would be really cool. So he's in Virginia as well. Okay, yeah, I knew he wasn't far away from me, but Chris Norville, yeah, Bubbaville Bassett, yep, yeah. So we'll try to get something like that going. We'll try to get something like that going. But look, guys and girls, I really, really appreciate y'all that have watched me. I really, really appreciate it. We have been on here for an hour and 56 minutes. I had no idea we would be going this long. Time went by so fast. I was thinking maybe we could do it an hour. I was thinking maybe if I had, 10 people watching, that it would be like a win for me. And we actually had upwards, I think we had like 50 something people watching at one time. So that was like really, really cool. And I really, really appreciate it. But I'm going to go ahead and jump off of here. It's 9:26 now. So like I said, I really appreciate everybody. And I really enjoyed it. I would definitely like to do another. So if you all would like for me to do another, be sure to let me know. And like I said, I got another upload coming tomorrow morning. Probably going to hit tomorrow morning, probably around 8 o'clock Eastern time, somewhere in there. And it's a pretty cool video. Catch some pretty nice fish in it. And you'll get to see me catch some on the jig and on the jerkbait. And caught a decent little bag. So I appreciate it, y'all. Y'all have a good night. I'm going to jump off here. And got some good videos coming for you all. So I appreciate it.